Hey, check this out. And if you want to know how we did that, stay tuned. Alright, welcome back to the build, guys, and today we are going to work on our stove. So I'm going to show you the fittings and everything that I have. I'll tell you how we're going to do it, and then we're going to get it done, and by the end of the day we're going to get this stove fired up. See what I did there?
Yeah, I saw what you did, and your jokes still suck.
Alright, so the way that we are going to hook this up is we're going to come straight back into this little pop out right here. We'll drill a hole in the back, we'll come out with a fitting, and we'll connect our hose to that. Then we'll circle around, we'll come out somewhere over here with a hose and a fitting for the side so we can plumb it out for our tank. And for that we do have some fittings here. I have some 1/4 inch nipples here and fittings for the side, elbows and a coupler, and a little bit of pipe dope that we'll be using. We've got a tool that we're going to need so we can make sure that we can get this tightened here on the side. A couple of wrenches. We've got our mount for the propane tank, and we also have our propane tank. The only thing I don't have yet is a hose from the propane tank down to our fitting, which I won't know the length of that until everything is installed. Then we can make a little store run, grab that, fill up the tank, give it a test try. So let's get started and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So what we're going to end up doing is pulling out the stove so we can pull off this little knockoff. Then we'll mark it for a hole and we'll go ahead and get that drilled. The stove came with a fitting, 1/4 inch fitting to a 3/8. So we are going to remove this fitting and we will install the nipple and a coupler that we can come out the back, and then from the back we'll install another nipple with an elbow, and from that elbow we'll have another fitting that has the flare tip for the 3/8 inch hose. That's just stick here in the back with just enough clearance. As I close the drawer, we won't hit the back. If so, we'll just move the drawer out just a little bit. We'll connect the hose here and we'll run it around to the fitting to the outside of the trailer. That's the plan. So let's get it done. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove these screws, pop out the stove, and punch out this knockout. Then we'll set the stove back in place and mark for our hole so we can get that drilled. Now we'll drill a small pilot hole from this side to this side, and then we'll put some backer wood in here, and we'll use a Forstner bit from this side and to punch through so we have a nice clean hole. Now I've got a little 2x2 here in behind. I clamped it out, so now we can run our Forstner bit, and we'll just run that through. That should give us a nice clean hole. Now we can set our stove back in, and everything lines up really nice, so we'll go ahead and fasten this down, and then we'll start running some pipe in here and we'll get this fitting out the back. Alright, so I'm just using from a local hardware store some pipe thread compound, and we will take and apply a little bit of that here on the threads without making a big mess, and then we'll go ahead and put this in our fitting here. Now I'm going to use a wrench to secure this part, and then we'll go ahead and get everything fastened on. Alright, that should be tightened up. Then we'll apply some more pipe thread on this end. We'll go ahead and get our coupler installed. Alright, now we can get the elbow and our other nipple here on the back. Alright, so with the elbow attached, we'll feed this through and go ahead and wind this on. Alright, now we've got our plumbing run. We're coming out the back of the box, and now we just need to install our flare fitting, so we're just going to put a little bit of more pipe of dope on here. Now we'll get that tightened up. And with just a little bit of luck, we might just have the clearance we need, so we'll close our drawer. Oh yeah. Perfect. And if I reach in behind, we are not touching the wall. That is great. Alright, now let's see what else we have to do. Alright, with the upper drawer removed, let's see if I can't see this here. We have good clearance. We're not touching the wall. So when this comes back, boom. Now we'll be able to fasten our hose on. And we're going to come out about right here with our fitting. And we'll install our hose. We'll probably clamp that to the back wall. And we'll clamp it somewhere here on the side. And we'll also clamp it here on the back of the drawer, so when the drawer pulls out, it extends the hose and hopefully runs this length, and we're still able to access our storage underneath. And then when we close our drawer, the hose will hopefully make the bend without trying to hold the drawer open. So now we just got to mark for where we want our fitting here going through the side. Alright, now we're about ready to start plumbing through the side of the trailer, and for that I do have a bulkhead fitting that has a nut that attaches. And once it's fastened down with enough thread, the distance here is not quite as wide as my trailer. So the wall for the trailer is about 3/4 of an inch thick, and I'll be using a couple washers, one on the outside, one on the inside. So in order to make sure that everything fits and snugs down real nice and tight, we're going to have to do a little countersinking. So I have an 1.5 inch spade bit in which we are going to countersink into the side of the wall from the inside, and that'll allow our washer, it's large enough for our washer, and then we'll be able to get that attached. So let's take a look how we're going to put this in. So for the location, I think we're going to probably go about right here, and we'll go through the side of the trailer. That will put it out to about right in here somewhere. We will install the tank sort of high, probably about right here, so the bolts are hidden behind the cabinet. And then we will also have a table support that we'll be putting on the side. So Now the scary part is to go ahead and get that hole drilled, get it countersunked, and hopefully not punch all the way through. That would be horrible. And then we can get our bulkhead fitting in. So we'll just go ahead and set our washer in place here where I think we want that bulkhead fitting. Try to get it close to the rear wall as we can. And then we'll take a pencil and mark that. And then we'll find the center, and then we'll go ahead and start countersinking that in. Alright, well, here it goes. Alright, I think that's going to do it. Now we'll clean up our mess. Go ahead and drill our hole for our fitting, at least this large, and then we can get it in there and see how well we did. Alright, so I used a 5/8 inch spade bit, and for our fitting, fits in there just like that. So that's what it'll be. Let's see if our washers fit. On the inside and the outside. Let's take a look at the inside. Alright, so with our fitting on the outside, we'll have to center that up just a bit, and we will be applying ProFlex around that. Then we'll get things fastened on. And the inside just as well. So we have our washer on there, and we have our nut, and we are through the cabin. So that's working out pretty good. I'm happy that worked and I didn't ruin anything with those spade bits, because sometimes those things like to jump around and make a mess. That's why I recommend just go on slow, just pull the trigger, you know, just a little bit instead of trying to drive it all the way through. Because that will splinter out your wood. So let's get that sealed up and tightened down. Then we can call that part good. Then we can start connecting hoses. Now we'll just go ahead and install. Well, let's take a look at everything. So we have our fitting installed on the outside. Got our washer, ProFlex oozed out. I cleaned it up. Might go around a little bit with some mineral spirits, clean up any goop around the Filon. And then on the inside, we are also nice and tight. I can see threads here on the end, which I'm pleased because that tells me I'm at the right depth. Alright, so now next is to connect our hose on this side, and then as well on the drawer. We'll get things slid in place and see how well things work. I don't know if the hose is too short or too long. Let's check it out and see. Alright, I think we have our stove plumbed in now. Remember, you used a 1/4 inch nipple here, 6 inch coupler, 3 inch nipple here, elbow, and then our flare fitting from 1/4 inch to 3/8. Got our hose. We do have a clamp here on the back, and I also clamped it here on the side and here. Then we come through to our bulkhead fitting, which is a 3/8 inch bulkhead fitting. So everything's going to work. Might have to move that clamp over just a bit. It won't go. There we go. Now we can install the mount for our propane tank. Get a propane tank up there, measure our distance from our tank down to our fitting, so we can get a hose for that, and then I think we can try it out. Alright, let me do a couple of measurements here, make a template, and then we'll get ready to install that. Alright, here's how we're going to install the bracket. I want the bracket to be hidden behind the cabinet here, so I just made a little cardboard template, and I marked all my holes for where this thing's going to line up on my cardboard. And I punched one hole. Put that inside where I want it, then I marked just that one hole. We're going to go ahead and pre-drill and get that one through, insert our carriage bolt, then we'll put this on the side of the trailer, tighten that one down, and that'll give me the location for the other 5. We'll pre-drill those, and then from the inside drill a little bit larger, and then come back on the outside, take the bracket off, finish out our holes. That way we're not splintering up any of our wood or the Filon. So it'll take just a few more extra seconds, but that's how we're going to do it. So I've got a mark up here where I think I want my first hole, and we're going to go ahead and get that drilled, put this bracket on the outside, get all the holes, and then get ready to mount that. Okay, so we have one screw or one bolt pre-drilled, and we've got it inserted in here, and just a little more than hand tight to hold the bracket in place. I went ahead and marked for the other holes, so we'll go ahead and pre-drill those and get things lined up, and yep, we can run our bolts through. We'll have to trim a little bit off. The store didn't have exactly the length I need, so we'll have to kill some of that. Alright, now that we've got all of our holes marked, we're going to go ahead and pre-drill into the center. Try to keep as straight as we can. Alright, now that we're done with the small pilot hole, we'll come back with a 1/4 inch, just a slightly bigger drill bit. We'll go about halfway through, and then we'll go from the inside out, and that way we get some nice clean holes. So what you see is the plastic all chewed up here. So now we'll go from the inside and we'll drill out, and we'll peel back the plastic, put our bolts through, seat those, and then we can put some ProFlex around here and get our bracket on, tighten her down, and call that attached. Alright, now that we've got our bolts through, let's test this out and see if we've got a nice tight fit. Oh yeah, very nice. So now we'll peel back the plastic, put some ProFlex around those, and we'll get that installed. Alright, so I've got the ProFlex on there, and to install I'm going to use some lock washers and a nylon lock nut. And we'll get those on there and tighten her down. Now I did cut these bolts down from 2.5 inches to 1 7/8 inches. The store didn't have the size that I needed, but we made do. Alright, now that we've got the bracket attached, let's set the tank in there and see if we can't get it fastened down. Alright, we'll call that good. Now let's see if I can't get a hose hooked to it. We'll check for leaks. See if we can't fire up this stove. Alright, so before we fire things up, we do have a connection here. I have a 22-inch hose and it's connected here, tightened up pretty good, and we are tight here at the top. So next is to turn it on. Then we will check all of our fittings, make sure that we don't have any leaks. And for that I mixed up a little bit of a soapy solution. We'll lay down some rags in here and squirt it down, see if we see any bubbles. And with any luck we don't, then we'll know we can fire it up. Alright, so I got me some towels down here. Now we'll just take our solution, we'll turn the tank on slowly. Alright. Now let's test, see if we got any bubbles. Don't see any bubbles. Alright, now we'll button it up and fire it up. Alright, so we've got the top on, we got our burner plates on, knobs are on. Now we just see if it works. I hear gas, so let's give it a shot. Boom. It's working. Alright guys, I think we're going to call this video a wrap, and we now have a functioning stove. So we've got everything plumbed in, no leaks, got the hose ran, got our bulkhead fitting, got our propane tank mounted and connected. Works. So that's one thing out of the way. Good deal. So I thought about that one for a long time to figure out how I was going to hook it up because the space was pretty tight, but as it turns out, worked good. So next task will be to do a little bit of electrical. We have a switch that we need to put in, and we need to get our refrigerator running, and then we got some trailer lights to put on. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you can get the up and coming videos, and give it a thumbs up, would you? So if you like the video, that is. And down below is a new little button called the applause button. Touch that and check it out and see what you think. Hey, give it an applause. Alright, I think that is it, and we're almost finished. So those of you who have your plans, I've seen some trailers, you guys are almost finished with yours in half the time that I've done mine, and all of your guys' work is looking fantastic. And pretty soon, hopefully, if you guys send me more pictures, I can start posting those, throw some names out there and the work that you did, because it's something you ought to be proud of. They look really good. Alright, I think that is about it. So until next time, please do stay tuned.